Tonight, a break in the case of a fatal Idaho Falls shooting. Police announcing they've charged one man with second-degree murder in the shooting death of a 32-year-old man. Local News 8's Erin O'Shaughnessy following these new developments for us. She's live at the Bonneville County Jail where the suspect is being held. Erin.
Hi, Chris. Yeah, I'm outside of the jail where 36-year-old Justin Sarbom is actually being held for murder charges. Police say him and another man actually got into an argument, and that's where Sarbom shot and killed the other person. Now, we do want to show you some footage from the scene, but need to warn you that some of it might not be appropriate for younger viewers. Now, as you can see that there is some blood in the snow and even on the apartment door. Police responded to shots fired call last night just after 5 p.m. And when officers arrived, they found the victim dead inside Sarbom's apartment. Neighbors in the area said they saw a lot of police cars and yellow tape around the apartment complex after the shooting. This is the second deadly shooting in the last week. Now, in Idaho Falls, shootings are really not a common thing, but some neighbors said they aren't too concerned about their safety.
I haven't seen too much over-the-top violence happening over here, so I think this may just be a one-time occurrence. I don't think it's going to be happening too regularly again.
Now, this case is still under investigation, and an autopsy will be done in Boise. Erin O'Shaughnessy live from Idaho Falls.
Thank you, Erin. And as Erin mentioned, Saturday's shooting marks the second deadly shooting in Idaho Falls since last Sunday. Officers were called to an apartment complex on Moonlight Drive on Sunday. When they arrived, one person, a 26-year-old, was found dead. Investigators did question another person. Police say it is possible that this shooting was self-defense. No one has been charged in this crime yet. And we wanted to take a look at homicides in Idaho Falls. The numbers are low, so here is what we found. According to the Idaho State Police, between 2010 and 2015, the city saw 7 homicides total, 2 of them in 2010. The number remained the same for 2011, with 2 homicides during that year as well. 2012 was a year without any homicides. In 2013, we saw an increase. This year brought a total of 2. The number dropped again during 2014. During this year, we didn't see any homicides. And the final year with data available was 2015. Idaho Falls saw 1 homicide. Coming up tonight at 10, we take a deeper look at these numbers and what exactly do they mean. Happening right now, investigators looking for the cause of a box truck fire. The fire broke out around 2:30 this afternoon on Ridgewood Lane. We don't know the cause of this fire. You can see from the video that it did produce a lot of smoke that could be seen for several blocks. No one was hurt. Turning things over to Chris Nesbitt now with a first look at our forecast. Chris, we are looking forward to warmer temperatures.
I know I am. My driveway, it is an ice skating rink, and that's being generous right now. And that's salt and all. It doesn't work when it's this chilly. So very typical January day where we see a lot of sunshine, just a few high clouds, and it's deceptive because you look outside, you go, oh, hey, it's gorgeous. Yeah, temperatures, they're saying a different story. In fact, right now, Pocatello, 14 degrees, winds southwest at 7 miles an hour. And again, it was very, very sunny today, but I mean, look at how chilly it is. 1 in Jackson, 13 below in Chalice. That's not something to celebrate about. So it's hard to get too excited about the sunshine when you have those kind of temperatures, but luckily the winds aren't too bad, meaning at least we don't have a major wind chill factor as well. Now tonight, 7 below for an average low with a few areas of patchy fog. Chris?
Thanks, Chris. People living in Franklin County are anxiously awaiting our next winter storm so they can breathe some better air. The Department of Environmental Quality says the air quality in the county has deteriorated to a dangerous level. The DEQ says burning restrictions are in place as a result. Now to a health alert for everyone in eastern Idaho. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention says it is seeing an increase in flu activity across the U.S., and Idaho is on that list. Already in our area, 3 people have died from influenza-related illnesses. Local News 8's Esme Carriega on this developing story tonight. She's live in the station kitchen with more on what we need to know. Esme.
Well, Chris, we're just 2 weeks into the new year and we can count on flu season. ERMAC is already seeing a number of people infected by the influenza A.
We've seen a big spike in influenza, especially influenza A, over the past several weeks.
This flu season is ahead of schedule. Cue the body aches and the coughing.
We are seeing the flu early this year. Probably about a month earlier, we're seeing the spike in influenza. Haven't seen a whole lot of influenza B, a lot of influenza A this year so far.
Brandon Bloxham is a doctor at Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center and says holidays are the perfect time to spread those germs.
Seems like there's holiday get-togethers. We see a lot of people congregating in crowds, and then flu spread pretty easily in schools, workplaces, nursing homes, that kind of stuff.
Bloxham says it's extremely important to practice good health habits.
Frequent hand washing, using Purell, other sources like that to sterilize your hands is important.
During most seasons, people in their 60s and older bear the greatest burden.
You know, having bad outcomes with influenza are the very young and the very old.
Bloxham says flu vaccines are recommended, but don't always work.
We've seen a little bit higher incidence of influenza in those that have been vaccinated. So the main thing is, you know, just continued hand washing.
So make sure when you do your hand washing, you really get in there and it's nice and warm, and you add plenty of soap while you're hand washing. You want to make sure that you have it all over your hands, and you really just work it in between your fingers and do it for a couple moments, and then do a good rinse. And make sure that you don't just do a quick hand wash and think that you're clear of germs. Live in the newsroom, in the news kitchen, excuse me, I'm Esme Kiriega.
Esme, good information. Thank you. Last flu season, 26 people were reported to have died from flu-related illnesses here in the Gem State. According to the CDC, there are 4 types of influenza viruses, A, B, C, and D. Human influenza A and B viruses cause seasonal epidemics of disease almost every winter in the United States. News from around the region now. We start in Twin Falls. Take a look at this video provided to us from the police department. Police say they arrested a rooftop robber on top of the Orpheum Theater Saturday. Officers were called to the theater when a burglary alarm went off. The suspect was found hiding behind an air conditioner unit. He was also found with thousands of dollars in items stolen from the Twin Falls Bridal Show. Next to Brighton, Utah, a skier suffered critical injuries at Brighton Ski Resort. The Unified Police Department said another skier saw a helmet in the snow and found a skier unconscious. That skier that was found unconscious was flown to a Utah hospital. Final stop around the region, back in Idaho, we go to McCall. That is where Idaho Fish and Game caught a wolverine feeding on a deer leg. The camera you see here was set up as part of a 4-state study to determine where the mammal lives. Idaho Fish and Game says the video was recorded about 12 miles northeast of McCall. Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and Washington State are taking part in this study. So let's talk some politics now. The Idaho House Education Committee is working to update education standards in all of its subjects, including science. Changes to science standards raised some controversy last year when lawmakers rejected new ones with very little explanation. New tonight, Local News 8's Febin Casahoon looking into this for us. She joins us live in the studio with what she found. Febin.
Now, Chris, there have been small changes, but not as big as the Education Board is proposing right now. Now, Chairwoman Julie Van Orden tells me the old science standards weren't reflecting what Idaho citizens wanted. Since the old science standards were adopted in 2001, she tells me it's time for a change. Van Orden adds it's a pretty tedious process. Now, Julie Van Orden tells me that the next 2 weeks her committee will be working diligently to help make the new standard pass. In studio, I'm Febin Casahoon.
Febin, thank you. And staying with politics, the Associated Press says Governor Butch Otter's statement that he's lowered the tax burden for Idahoans by roughly $1 million over 11 years is true. Otter made this announcement during his State of the State last Monday. The AP says they crunched the numbers and they add up. Otter isn't requesting lawmakers pass a tax cut this session, but says he is open to approving one. And from the State House to the White House, the final countdown to Inauguration Day is on. This weekend, President-elect Donald Trump engaging in a war of words with a civil rights icon, while Democratic lawmakers rally Americans to save Obamacare. ABC's Gloria Riviera has more.
In Washington, rehearsals underway, just 5 days to go before Donald Trump's inauguration. But in other cities across the country, thousands rallied against the president-elect's campaign promises, mainly the push to repeal the Affordable Care Act.
Their plan is to make America sick again.
The latest Gallup poll shows just 44% of Americans approve of how Trump is handling the transition, a huge drop from President Obama in 2009 and President Bush in 2001. Also this weekend, Trump's team forced to answer questions about his Twitter feud with Congressman and civil rights icon John Lewis.
I was deeply disappointed to see someone of his stature question the legitimacy of Donald Trump's election.
The congressman is sitting out Friday's inauguration because he believes the Russians helped get Trump elected.
I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president.
Trump called Lewis all talk, 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 no action. Some Democrats say Trump is a hypocrite.
We all remember that Trump was one of the leaders of the so-called birther movement, trying to delegitimize the presidency of our first African-American president.
That issue's been resolved for years now.
He didn't stop raising those questions until late in this campaign, not 2 years.
But look, George, that's not the point. The point is not where Barack Obama was born. The point is that we've got congressmen on the Democratic side of the aisle that are questioning the legitimacy of President-elect Trump.
Plenty of work to do before celebrations begin. Gloria Riviera, ABC News, Washington.
One of those rallies Gloria talked about took place right here in the Gem State. 250 people came together in Boise protesting against the repeal of the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. There were 4 main speakers at the event, and those who attended say the talks were powerful and the audience was very animated. When President-elect Trump is sworn in this week, Idaho Republican Party Chairman Steve Yates will be in the crowd. The Republican Party says Yates, along with several other Idahoans, will travel to Washington, D.C. to watch the event. Count on Local News 8 to bring you the latest coverage of the inauguration all week long. The Pocatello American Legion is raising money this weekend by saying goodbye to the beards. It's all a part of the Commanders and Presidents Project, where veterans and members of the group are shaving off those beards to raise money for Gold Star families. You're looking at Woody Jones getting his beard shaved. He alone raised $400. Many people across the state are ready for summer, but here's proof that winter isn't all that bad. Check out this ice hut. One local family in Idaho Falls are making a temporary home of the ice on their front lawn. This igloo is catching the attention of many, and it's about keeping tradition for the Lee family. In 1994, Victor built an igloo with his kids. Flash forward to 2017, he's at it again, this time with his grandkids.
The first one we built in Washington, my kids were about 5 and 6 years old, and my grandkids are about 5 and 6, so we thought we'd emulate that and take another photo and have 2 of the same shots, but with their children.
Lee says it took them a little over 6 hours to construct. He also says people have been stopping by to take pictures in it. And hanging out in an igloo doesn't sound too warm, but it might be a little relaxing, and that is a good thing. Coming up on the news at 5, why mindfulness is more important than ever before. But it's the end of the era. The most famous circus show on Earth calling it quits. Still ahead, reaction from the fans. And after your full forecast, a massive ice storm impacts millions. Tonight, federal resources being called in to help out. An update now on a stolen tiny home we first told you about last weekend. The home was stolen from a Las Vegas man while he stopped at a truck stop in eastern Oregon in late December. Some good news tonight. His tiny home was found 1 mile from the crime scene on Thursday, minus the loss of the tires and the door. The owner says it appears to be salvageable. Now to the story of the Big Top coming down for good. Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus announced it is closing later this year. The news took many spectators by surprise today. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez with more.
Young and old, they came to see the greatest show on earth.
Eat cotton candy!
But it quickly became clear
This is your last chance.
these fans in Miami would be among the lucky few to witness one of Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus's final shows.
Oh no, that's not right. They can't do that to the little kids.
The company announcing this weekend it will end the show's 146-year run in May.
My wife woke me up this morning and said that this is going to be the last year of Ringling Brothers. I was devastated because he's going to remember it, but unfortunately my little boy is not going to remember it.
The flashy costumes, breathtaking acrobatics, and exotic animals excited families for generations.
It's been through world wars, it's been through every kind of economic cycle, and it's been through a lot of change.
But in recent years, ticket sales declined.
Here come the elephants.
Especially after all of the show's elephants were retired in May.
Removing the elephants from the touring units, we saw a very sharp drop in attendance.
That decision following decades-long battles with animal rights groups.
If it's best for the animals, then it should be done.
The human acts earned scrutiny too. The show sued after this 2014 stunt went terribly wrong, injuring 8 aerial performers. And in 2016, a BMX routine ended with one daredevil rider rushed to the hospital. Still, many fans are disappointed. Parents glad they have a few more months to take their kids.
Don't miss getting the keepsake collector's item.
To witness the end of an era. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, New York.
And now, Chris Nessman with your first alert forecast.
I'm kind of bummed now. I don't think I'll ever get to go to that. I've never been before. Anyway, let's take a look right now at Idaho Falls. Beautiful sunset after a very nice day, visually speaking. You look at temperatures, hard to enjoy 8 degrees, but that was warm compared to some spots. We do still have a flood advisory, and again, that's some of the streams in Custer and Butte counties. Just, back up, ice jamming, that sort of thing. Now, Viper radar is very, very quiet in our neck of the woods. Central U.S., though, again, ice storm moving through Kansas, Nebraska into Missouri and Iowa. So if you have to travel through that part of the country, you maybe find a different route because it is going to be dicey for the next few days with all that ice. Now, we got high pressure firmly over Idaho, hence high pressure. There is a storm out in the Pacific. That one's going to go to our north, but eventually we will have a storm that pushes that high pressure aside. It's going to take a while before it gets here. In fact, we're just going to slowly work our way through the clock. Notice Tuesday afternoon, still nothing. Wednesday, and we got something moving in. So late Wednesday evening into Thursday is when we're finally going to kind of bust this locked cold air, particularly the central mountain valleys. I mean, 24 below in Chalice tonight, that's chilly. Everyone else, a lot of sub-zero places. If you're in kind of a bowl like the INL, colder than other spots tonight because we do have a bit of an inversion going on. You see 3 in Soda Springs, 4 Montpelier, and 9 below in Afton. Again, another bowl/valley. Now, tomorrow's highs, very similar to today. In fact, you could almost repeat tomorrow or today, and it would be pretty much tomorrow. The exception being, I think we are going to get a few, emphasis on few, mid to high level clouds sliding in throughout the day. They're not going to be major weather changers at all, but just know that'll be the one change, at least compared to today. Looking at the extended forecast, starting with Idaho Falls. Yeah, still chilly for a few days, and then things do start to warm up, and it's more snow showers rather than cold temperatures come Thursday. But again, we are going to start to see those showers slide in. Pocatello extended forecast, not too bad at all. And again, temperatures bumping just above freezing, so in fact that burr needs to be slid across the map by a couple of days. Jackson extended forecast, 20s, upper 20s, and then snow showers Thursday into Friday in Jackson, with it's not looking like it's going to be as big a storm as initially forecast. And again, the reason for that is a lot of the moisture associated with it is going to be sticking further south than they anticipated. Meaning for us, while we are going to get some mixing in the atmosphere, which will again help warm us up a bit, it does mean we're not going to get some major temperature drops like we can get after this storm. And ending with salmon, very chilly for a few days, and salmon even gets close to freezing by Thursday.
I think everybody is looking up for a little bit of a reprieve from these cold weather.
What we need is just 1 or 2 days of sunny but like close to freezing days or a little bit above, just to melt the ice on the roads.
Oh, absolutely.
Once the roads are clear, it can snow again and just kind of do a reset button with the roads. That's my biggest qualm right now.
The city is like a skating rink.
Places are, definitely.
We should start charging for people to slide down our road.
I wonder if we make money off that.
All right, thanks, Chris. Staying on the Weather Watch this evening, we're moving east to Missouri, where the National Guard is helping assist with emergency response. The Guard will be helping with assist stranded motorists, helping with clearing routes, and helping residents get to a shelter. A 1,000-mile stretch of the Midwest is currently dealing with a massive ice storm. ABC's Adrian Banker continues our coverage from Kansas.
More than 20 million Americans are in the path of a major ice storm, causing dangerous travel through the heartland. In Oklahoma, roadway conditions turning deadly. One person killed in a massive wreck on I-40. Both lanes on the interstate shut down through the night.
With ice, it can change very quickly.
The heavy ice knocking down thousands of trees, branches cracking under the weight of the ice, littering the streets, damaging homes and cars overnight. Darkness blanketing neighborhoods.
Oh, power just went up.
Salt trucks out in heavy force, hoping to make travel much less treacherous.
Ice can be a challenge for people, you know. It's always great to plan ahead and give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going.
On the flip side, take a look at this gorgeous winter wonderland in China. These crystal cascades outside of Beijing have frozen over. The arch-shaped vines greet visitors visiting a quiet area southwest of the city. In addition to the entrance, visitors also get a chance to see some cool views of the ice. It's actually floating in the water as they walk through this. Kind of pretty. One of the most popular independent film festivals in the country gets underway this week. Still ahead, we go to Utah for a preview of Sundance. But first, the importance of clearing your mind. Right after the break, why mindfulness is key to good health. And tonight on the news at 10, Idaho Falls police investigate 2 deadly shootings in less than a week. That's the same number we saw in 2014 and 2015 combined. We're looking into the rise and seeing what those who call Idaho Falls home have to say. Health Matters now, and we're talking mindfulness. The benefits and research behind it is limited, but what it does show is the impact is pretty big. Here's Kelsey Soto with more.
Mindfulness is the idea of paying attention to something intentionally without judging it. This practice can be used as a therapeutic technique and is gaining popularity.
The limbic system is the emotional center of the brain. And so the prefrontal cortex keeps those emotional responses under control. It's what happens when we get stressed or anger, is that it flips our lid.
There are both formal and informal mindfulness practices. Some may include meditation or could be as simple as stopping to take a breath when you're feeling anxious. Those who do implement these practices in their daily lives may begin to notice changes in their lifestyle.
I'm able to be more attentive to people. I have a greater capacity to have compassion and empathy for others. It helps with sleep.
While setting up a goal like a 30-minute daily meditation can seem daunting or overwhelming, Lopez recommends starting with something simple and try to absorb your surroundings.
I would just encourage everybody just to try something, to do something different every day, just to make themselves come back in the moment and just notice what it's like to be in the moment.
In recent years, this concept has taken off. Even clinics are being modeled around the practice.
In the past, it has been seen as this Eastern religion, and not that it's going to benefit our Western culture. But the research has been showing, and the more and more we learn about the brain, it has been showing that this is something that really helps the brain.
For Fentonville, Idaho, I'm Kelsey Soto.
Going to Utah, the Sundance Film Festival kicks off Thursday. The event, founded in 1978 by Robert Redford, it's the largest independent film festival in the country. 47,000 people attended the event last year.
All right, taking a look at your extended forecast. 2 more days of chilly temperatures, and then things start to warm up as the storm moves in, but that'll be Wednesday evening into Thursday. And then you notice we don't get quite as chilly by the latter half of the week, and that's just because it'll stay unsettled, though as far as timing of storms past the Thursday one, it's still up in the air, truthfully.
Those are beach temperatures, Chris. We are thanking you.
Sure,
Thanks.
we'll go with that.
We're back here tonight at 10. More news on localnews8.com. Have a good night, everyone.